Configuring a domain name that you own within one of your DecoNetwork websites is pretty simple. What you need to do is first log in to where you purchased the domain name. So I've always bought my domains from GoDaddy, and within my GoDaddy account, I can choose one of the domain names I own. So let's use Celebration Tees. And within a domain name, we're going to come into the DNS settings. And what DecoNetwork needs us to do is update two records. One is called the A record, two is the C name. So with the A record, we want an @ symbol with this value. So we're going to copy this. We're going to come back to where we bought our domain name, in this case GoDaddy. You can see we have an A record with an @ symbol for the name, and then the data, the value, is parked. Paste the value that Deco gave us, and I always like to keep it as quick as possible, so there's 600 seconds within the TTL. We'll click Save. All right, go back to the help article. We also have a C name. The host name is www, so I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to come back to our GoDaddy account in this case. You see we have the C name, www. And what I'm going to do is edit here, change the value, and then I'm going to change the TTL to custom 600. The TTL is really the time that it takes to move the domain name from one to another, one website to another. It doesn't mean that it's actually going to be instantaneous. I mean, every domain register is going to be a different time frame. If the website was already being used with a different CMS, that can take more time. Sometimes it's instantaneous. So we just did the two updates of records within our DNS settings of our domain name. So now I can come back to my DecoNetwork account, and we are going to configure this. And where I'm in my website, so choose your website, choose the website you want to configure, come into the domain settings, and right here is where I'm going to add the domain name that I've configured. And you can see it's already working. And then I'm going to do it again with www and add the second half. So essentially I do it two different ways. I do it without www and then the same domain name with www. We are then going to make one of these two the primary. So I'm just going to make the www version the primary, and I'm going to redirect to the primary. That way, if any of these URLs or these domain names are entered, it will default to the www.celebrationtees.com in this situation. We aren't done yet. What's very important is that you add an SSL certificate to both of these versions of the domain. DecoNetwork supplies the free SSL certificate. This is going to make this domain and your website secure. It's going to go from an HTTP to an HTTPS. Very important. Now, the SSL certificate will take around 10 minutes to go live, but at that point, we're done. And you can see it took us, 5 minutes to configure the domain name. All we had to do was update those two records within our domain where we purchased it. And then within DecoNetwork, we add that domain name twice, one with www at the beginning, one without. And then we add the SSL certificate from Deco. That's it. It's that quick and easy. And you can have multiple domain names in here. So if I had like 4 different versions, if I had the non.com, I had the .org and so forth. If I wanted to have them all point to the same website, I absolutely can. That's not going to help you from an SEO standpoint like some think it will. It's more so if you gave somebody that domain name and said, go here, and then you changed it, they still get to the correct site that you want them to go to. So that's how you configure a domain name within your site. Now, if you're on the premium or enterprise plan and you're creating a network of sites, when we launch a new website, it is going to be at the moment something.deco something. So by default, we have to have a suffix portion of the domain name to launch the site. And they're all labeled for deco. So there is something pretty cool here. What you can do is come into the website settings, and this is the global website settings. I can come down here to global store subdomains. And what I'll do is add a domain, and we'll add the same exact one we had, for example, and it doesn't work yet. Why? Well, we need to add another DNS setting. So we're going to come into, you can see that within the DNS settings, we need an A record with an asterisk with this same IP address as we configured before. So we'll copy the IP address. We'll come back to where we bought our domain name. We're going to add a new record. It is going to be an A record. This time, instead of an @ symbol, we're going to use an asterisk. So Shift F8, Shift 8, sorry. We'll add the value, the IP, and then the TTL. We'll again go to custom, and we'll do 600. Save. Record data is invalid. Oh, I had an extra period. Okay, now we'll come back over to Deco. We'll click Save, and we are valid. Now, when I launch a new site, by default, I can have it be, zachshirts.celebrationtees.com, for example. Really cool, because you're kind of getting rid of that last portion of deco information, and you're using your own domain name as the suffix portion. You can use as many domain names as you own. So let's say that you have, let's say you have a bunch of sports teams and you have schools. So maybe you'd want like website teamgear.com. So it could be, hornets.teamgear.com. Or maybe you have a different domain name for just school spiritwear. Maybe you own the domain name schoolspiritwear.com. Well, again, my high school were the Hornets, so it could be hornets.schoolstoregear.com. So any domain name that you own, you can list here, and that can be the default suffix portion, and that'll allow you to just make your affiliate websites just that much more prettier just because it has a cooler, better domain name. And every website within your DecoNetwork account can use their own custom domain name. It's just you have to own it. And that's why these global stored subdomains are really powerful. Now, just because we added it doesn't mean we're complete. So what we want to do is come over here to SSL, and what we need to do is add a CNAME in which we are pointing to create the SSL certificate. Sorry, I can't explain it very well. It all goes over my head. All I know is I need to create a CNAME with the host name being this and the value being this. Remember, I'm a t-shirt printer by trade. I am not a tech person. I just have used the software for a long time. So we're going to come back over to GoDaddy. In this case, we're going to add a new record. That type is going to be a CNAME. The name here, let's make sure I do this right. That is the host name. So yes, the host name goes here. And then if we grab this other, we'll copy it. This is our value. And then we'll be able to set the TTL. What this is going to allow us to do is when we launch sites using this suffix portion of this domain name, it's going to allow us to make that site have that HTTPS SSL certificate by default. So let's refresh. You can see the SSL status is not requested. So verify. And not everything is instantaneous. Request free wildcard certificate. Boom! We got to wait up to 10 minutes for it to be deployed. So again, what that's going to allow us to do is when we want to use this domain name. So let's go back to a website that we already launched. So we'll come to this other site. You can see it's .deco-apparel.com by default. I'll come into domain settings, choose this, change it from .deco-apparel to my celebration tees, click save. And once that SSL certificate is complete, you can see it is going to have it here. So after 10 minutes, any site I launch using this celebrationtees.com as the suffix portion will automatically have an SSL certificate generated for us. It's really cool. So DecoNetwork makes it very easy to point your domain name to your site if you just need to do one site, or if you want to create your network of sites and you want the default suffix portion of the domain name to be whatever you own, DecoNetwork makes that very easy, and you can configure several of them. If you have any questions on how to configure your domain name within your DecoNetwork website, there's a lot of great help articles, but you're always free to come to the question, raise a support ticket. That'll put you in contact with client services, who is always there to help you when you need and answer any questions that you have. Hopefully you find this video helpful, and thank you for watching.